iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
I'm joined this morning by the cast of Jersey Boys. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining iHeartRadio Broadway today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
It's bright and early. You guys are in rehearsal, so I thank you so much for joining me this morning. So first and foremost, just a general check-in. How are you all doing? It's been a very long 18 months. You're back in the rehearsal studio. So Aaron, I'm going to start with you. How's it going? How's the mental acuity right now?
I think we're all just overly excited to be back working again. And so I think that everybody seems to be super happy, super excited. There's a wonderful positive energy that permeates rehearsal. I feel like after like a week and a half, we were like, we're ready for an audience, let's get to that point. We still have more layers to add as we go, but we're excited to have the show back up and running. In the rehearsal space. Now we're in the theater working to put the show on the stage.
And CJ, same question to you. What's the mental status right now with being back in the show?
The group morale is so high because everyone's so ecstatic to be back here and like all in the same room again together. But it's been so odd because it's like we're living in an old memory, and like half the things come back so naturally. The other half of things are like completely foreign to us, and we're like relearning old tricks. But overall, like we're just so excited to open and like finally have an audience again and get to like feel that electricity come back at us. It's going to be awesome.
Now, you all have been in a form of Jersey Boys for a long time, whether it's the national tour or New York or the various versions of the show. So when you got the call that you were going to be in the reboot of the New York cast, what was that feeling like that you were going to reopen the show after the great pause that we've all been in for the last 18 months? And John, I'm going to throw that question to you.
Yeah, hi. What was great is the four of us were the four who ended the show right before the pandemic. Not that we knew it was a given we'd come back, but when they said we were coming back, we were really excited because we were just developing the chemistry. And to go off your old question, I think it's really great because we've all sort of had almost 2 years to sit in our showers and think about all this. And you know what I mean? I'm really trying to strip myself of the bad habits I developed and the doing it every night habits I developed. And I'm trying to come into rehearsal fresh. And I think we all are. And we're trying to just like get rid of all the crap and just really go back and try to re-rehearse the show, which you don't always get to do when you're doing a run. It just happens and you try not to die, you know what I mean? But now we have time to really try to put it together and think about it together as a group who already know each other, but now we're revisiting each other, which makes it cool.
And Jonathan, something CJ said, is it all muscle memory, or were there moments where it was like, I don't remember this at all and I have to completely relearn it? Or was it fully muscle memory going back into the show?
There was a lot of muscle memory. It was parts of both. I mean, we would get to a part, in rehearsal where I think I go right instead I go left. I think I grab the mic stand, but I grab the music stand, things like that. But I mean, the show came together, like Aaron said. I mean, I think at the end of the first week, we were running the show already. And, we all knew all of the material already. I mean, it's the whole cast is intimately familiar with this material. I don't know how much sitting in the shower I was doing personally. I was out in the woods, walking around for a while, and I'm just so grateful to be back with people I love, doing material that we love.
Well, I have a bench in my shower, so that's
that's fair.
Well, there you go.
And speaking of the muscle memory, some of us have more muscles than others, so I think it made it easier.
Wow. Okay, throwing a little shade this morning at 9:25 a.m. I love it. Well, I mean, and that's kind of my next question. You all seem very tight knit. I know you ended the run before the pandemic started, but you all do seem like a very close knit group of people. So has it been fun to see each other again? It's been, again, I'm going to reiterate the 18 long months, but has it been fun getting back together?
Absolutely. It's been so much fun. I feel like we kind of, for the first couple of days, it was lovey, huggy, happy, and now we're back to like making up for a year and a half's worth of prodding and joking with each other and giving each other a hard time. So I feel like we're right back where we need to be, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
And Jersey Boys, it's such a beloved musical. It's been running for so long in various versions, like I said, between Broadway, the national tour, cruises, Atlantic City, you name it. What do you think it is about Jersey Boys that makes it such a beloved musical that people keep coming back time and time again? And CJ, I'm going to throw that to you.
Aside from the music that, you just hear these songs again, and like there's such nostalgia to it all, and like it just teleports you to like such happy times for the most part. But aside from that, like you're watching these four underdogs take on the world and overcome so many obstacles in their way, and like it's an everyday story of these four guys becoming world famous. So you can't help but like wind up loving each and every one of these characters along the way and the impact that they had on the music industry.
And I think, Jonathan, one of the things I love about this show is that sometimes you are introducing this music to a brand new audience. A lot of the younger generation that comes to see the show, they've never heard this music before. And all of a sudden you're creating these new lifelong fans. What's that like for you to watch every night?
Or maybe they've heard Ariana Grande sing a version of the song, then they get there and they say, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was a Frankie Valli song."
Or that group doing Beggin', that young group that does that version of Beggin' that's everywhere right now too.
What's that group's name?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
You never heard that new version of Beggin' that's like everywhere right now? There's like a rap in the middle.
I do know what you're talking about.
He's like super raspy. It's super
Well,
raspy.
you guys are young.
It's like a TikTok reel. They use it on TikTok reels all the time too. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
But yeah, 100%. It's so exciting to be, part of. It's almost like generational wealth, passing down the classics, and being kind of the stewards of these stories and this knowledge.
It's been exciting to see. I've been with the show for going on, except for the pandemic, a nonstop 9 years, and it'll actually be 10 years in February. And one of the things that always surprised me is how transcendent this show is. It transcends generations. It transcends language. It transcends culture. It transcends so many things, and so many people love it. The music is great. The story is great. Every aspect of the show has been so well thought through that it's really kind of in this form one of the most perfect shows that I've ever been a part of. And I think that's another reason why I can stay with it for almost 10 years and still be like, yeah, I like doing my job, I can't say that for other shows that I've been in. To talk about the younger generations that are excited about the show, we have a fan base and a podcast that's run by a couple of 20-somethings right now, and they're like amazing fans. They've been pushing the show and created a podcast around the show and have had amazing guests and introducing and passing the show on to all sorts of younger and even older people too.
Aaron, being in the show for 10 years, is there anything that continues to surprise you about the show?
Yeah, the fact that I can tolerate John Rochette after all this time, it's amazing, No.
At least someone can.
I transcend generations.
I had a feeling this interview was going to go off the rails at some point, so I appreciate.
Here we are, off the rails.
We haven't even gotten the bourbon out yet.
Yeah.
I feel like John's drinking something though this morning.
Well, John was drinking vodka, but it's not.
But no, it really is. It's just everything about the show is wonderful. And, I know that's like a really silly cliche thing to say, but it's true. We had the opportunity recently to go through the entire costume plot of the show with the original designer of the costumes, which we haven't done. He hasn't been actively involved in anything like that since the show began. And so that was an amazing opportunity to kind of like learn a little bit more about every little tiny detail. And that's one of the things that's been cool about being in the show for so long is every once in a while, someone brings something up or teaches you something about the show, about the music, about the costumes now that all of a sudden adds one more piece to this puzzle that's been, clarity to a piece that's been there forever, but now we know why it's there and it makes so much more sense and just like opens up so many more things.
And John, for those that have no clue what Jersey Boys is, if they live under a rock in the world and have no clue about this show, we have new tourists coming into the city now with the borders being open. How would you describe Jersey Boys to someone who has no clue about this show?
It is a behind the scenes look and a truthful, gritty telling of a truthful, gritty story of a band of 4 blue collar guys who started in the late 50s in poor New Jersey. And they climbed up the ladder of success and they had massive problems. And our story is not afraid to tell and show all their massive problems. And they created tons and tons of hits that are still around today. And you watch them rise and you watch them fall and you watch them sing and you watch them dance and you watch them get hooked up with the mob and you watch them love and lose. And that's why everyone loves it, because this is one of the biopics or bio shows or whatever you want to call it that really works. Because when Frankie Valli put it together, he said, well, if we're going to do it, I want to tell the whole damn thing, not just the fun stuff, because that's boring. And so many biopics want to tell the story, but they're afraid. Like, well, I don't want to do all the bad stuff I did because it makes me look bad. None of them were afraid to look bad, which is what makes them look so real and actually look good in a weird way, Yeah. And I think that put this together, mixed with it being a jukebox musical, which is inherently fun. And I think that's just why it works, because it's so real and people are like, whoa, what a real story. I was singing and dancing like a musical, but I also felt like I just got a real story.
Well, and I feel like a lot of times jukebox musicals tend to fall on their face because they can't get the book right. And I feel like this story got the book right paired with the music, because it is such a heartfelt, real telling of these men. And that's why I think everyone really, truly falls in love with Jersey Boys when they see the show.
And you're so right. And exactly. And our director, Des Mackinoff, always says he considers it a play with music, because he feels so, and he comes from a Shakespeare and classical background as a director, as well as musicals. And he's so satisfied with the book, and they work so heavily on the acting and the storytelling. And you're right. I think that's why you leave so fulfilled while also singing "Oh What a Night."
I also love being told I'm right. So that's fantastic. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you are very right and very beautiful and a great host.
So my last question to all of you is, when you do have an audience for the first time, what is that first performance going to feel like for all of you that opening night? CJ, I'm going to start with you.
I think I'm just going to black it out. I think it's going to be so overwhelming that, like, I don't know. We've been like dreaming about this moment for like almost 2 years now. We all have, like, all of New York has. It's going to feel like Christmas morning, and I love Christmas.
Perfect answer. Jonathan, your turn.
It's going to be emotional. I'm a softie. I went to a show last night. I got to see Jeff Daniels and that amazing cast do their thing. And I turned around at that curtain call and I just looked at this gorgeous theater full of people, wearing masks, but it's church. We come together for communion to tell these human tales. And it's so exciting to be back in New York at this time, getting to be a part of a show reopening, having people come. I'm so excited to be on stage with these 3 and the rest of our cast and to tell this story. It's going to be emotional. I'm not going to be able to stop myself because we say things in the show like, do you ever think we'd all be standing on this stage again? I'm going to get to that moment and I'm going to look at all the people around us and think of the journey that we've all been on to be back in this place together. And it's just the most amazing gift that I think I've ever received.
I similarly had an opportunity to be in an audience, actually got to be in the reopening audience of Come From Away and experience the emotion of reopening a show here in the city after so much time. And it was such a beautiful experience. And I think that we're going to have that experience. The great thing about theater is it has the potential to heal, and to be in this show during this time and be a part of the healing process that the world is going through, and being able to be a part of that. We're not frontline workers by any means, and we're all so grateful for the healing, the literal healing that they've been able to help the world go through, but we get to be a part of the emotional and spiritual healing that so many people get to go through, and that's going to be the most exciting and wonderful. It's going to be absolutely emotional. It's going to be joyous. It's going to be a very special, maybe potentially one of the most important performances we will ever give in our lives, at least in this generation.
Well, I'm going to try not to black it out like CJ, because I do have a lot of lines and that feels somewhat dangerous, but
I think you're vodka, John.
I think I'm going to really just try to be laser focused, and I'm really going to try to soak in, my character is lucky enough that he starts the show speaking to the audience a lot in sort of this storyteller narrator fashion at the beginning. And I think I'm really going to try to take advantage of the audience. And I think they are going to want that, and I'm going to want that. And I think the fact that the show starts with a lot of sort of narration right to the audience, I'm really going to try to set that vibe really well. And I think it's going to be exactly what we, the cast, and the audience needs and wants. And hopefully it'll really start the show off and start the run off and start New York City off with a bang,
Well, John, Aaron, Jonathan, and CJ, thank you so much for joining me and iHeartRadio Broadway today. I cannot wait to see you all back at Jersey Boys, and welcome back to New York City. Welcome back to the Broadway community. So again, congratulations, and we can't wait to see you back in the theater.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.